All right, we'll start with just a couple of the roster movements. Obviously, made a trade, Devaughn Vele. We're really excited to have an opportunity to bring him and onboard him with us. Obviously, really good player, really good person. Really had a productive year last year in Denver, and so felt like as we went through you're always looking for guys, looking for opportunities. Felt like it was a great opportunity for us to get a younger guy, second year in the league, that's still developing and growing, and it'll be great for our team. And so as a result, we did have to release Donovan Peoples-Jones, which is always the challenging part of this. And other than that, we should be good to go. Roster-wise, I don't think anything from an injury standpoint has changed. And as far as we look forward to this Denver game, plan is to get as many of the starters playing as we can. We'll see how long that goes, but we'll try and get those guys some game time action, which will be great for those guys just to get them out there. And QB-wise, it'll go Spence, Tyler, and then Jake. So that'll be the rotation there, and then we'll go from there. Any questions?
You didn't see Polak out there at practice. Did he get injured?
Yeah, he had a little something happen. We'll just keep an eye on him, and just at the end of last practice, so nothing major.
So at what point did you feel like we had to go make a trade and you can go get the guy like this?
There's a number of guys that you're always talking about, and I think this time of year there's always those conversations, and really it's about trades right around now, and then it becomes about the 53-man roster and obviously the waiver operation that the league will go through. And so you have discussions about a number of guys. Felt like it was a really good opportunity for us. Felt like probably in Denver they had a situation that probably presented it and gave it life. They have some really good depth up there at the receiver room, and so I think it's a great acquisition for us.
Did you feel like it was a priority you had to have a big receiver in that room?
We certainly felt like if it presented itself, it would be a great opportunity. We feel great about that room. There's tons of good players in that room, and we feel like there's a lot of contributors that will contribute this year. And so, again, depth is obviously very valuable in this league, and so we felt like we added a big piece to it.
For the size, is that something you just thought?
Yeah. Yes, certainly that's a component of what Devon will bring. He's a 6'5" kid. He can play up there, can play with some range, has really good catch radius, can play in some contested catch situations, and so I think that'll obviously be a piece that maybe is a little bit different than some of the guys that we have, but it'll be great for that group.
What, if anything, about him maybe stood out to you as a run blocker?
Yeah, certainly saw him willing to block. He got in there, he got dirty at times, and he did a number of things. And the transition just from what he's been exposed to with that system and being with Sean and stuff, feel like he's been built up the right way this past year, and so he's going to be able to there's a transition for all these guys. We did Jahan Dotson last year when I was in Philly, and it's going to take a little bit just to get acclimated, but he'll handle it just fine.
How do you feel like that type of target can help your quarterbacks down where the percentage has been greater, like red zone, like some of those closer quarter areas?
Yeah, size always is a benefit. Size and catch radius, that combination, and he certainly presents that. So in contested catch one-on-one situations and in the red zone, certainly it'll be hopefully an added bonus.
Do you need that type of player to maybe even get like a fair evaluation of your quarterbacks? Like if that's missing, does that kind of affect the evaluation?
We certainly feel like with Kevin, with Sed, with some of these guys, we still got some size. It's not like we're all under 6 foot or something. So we do have some guys that have played in that game, and they've done a nice job. They've done a really good job. I think our goal always is to accumulate as many good players as we can. We feel like that room's got a lot of good pieces already. We get to add another piece. We'll need all these guys contributing.
And as far as Saturday goes, will most of the starters play in the same?
Yeah, we'll lock it in tomorrow morning with all these guys, but the goal is to get just about all of them. If they're healthy and ready to roll and they're good to go, then we'll give them an opportunity to get out there and just get settled in and play together. I think that's the most important thing. These guys need to play, but they need to play together.
Was your intent with that be to have both quarterbacks with the first team offense, or do you know yet?
We'll see. We'll see just as far as the depths of those groups and how long they can go.
What made you want to get Spencer the first round?
We just went with that. He's done a nice job, and so he will kind of rotate it last week. We'll rotate it again this week, and the goal is to get all three of those guys in there.
Just for clarification purposes, this is not like indicative of the
No.
regular season.
No.
What have you just liked about Spencer coming off of that preseason game number 2 and just this week? What things about his approach have you done?
Yeah, I think our quarterbacks, the whole group, has done a really good job of just the mindset, the mentality. I thought they've done a really good job this week in practice. Spence has made some big plays in practice, some downfield throws, and I think his ability to use his feet, he's done a nice job. And he usually has the right timing of when to use it, when to utilize it. Yesterday I think we had some good situational work for him. Both quarterbacks had some really good situational work at the end of the practice, and so we feel great with where that group's going.
What made you guys feel comfortable to give up the 2 picks for Vele? That was honest, that you guys were okay with.
Yeah, that's always the tricky part. You identify players you really want, and then obviously there's a cost associated with it. And so, he's a younger player. This is his second year, obviously, so he's on his initial contract in the NFL. So there's some value to that associated with just from a roster management healthy standpoint. He'll be with us. Certainly, we anticipate him being with us for a while. And so he's been a really productive player. And I think that's the rare thing to see a guy second year in the league with the production he had last year, with the big moments he had. It's not just little catches here and there. I mean, he played really tough downs for Denver, and so we feel like we're adding a really big piece that's going to contribute in a lot of ways.
Is there anything about him being 27 or 20 either benefit or negative?
I think it's a pretty neutral thing. I mean, yeah, he's a little bit older, but he's been through some football. He was ready to play last year, played phenomenal. He's not like he's an older guy. I think they're still young at that age, so we'll be fine.
It may be too early to ask this question, but with him and taking over nearly 70% of his snaps from the slot last year, do you envision him being somebody that works both inside and out, or maybe as a big slot?
The evidence supports that he can play in and out. He's got really high capacity. I mean, for him to hop in there as a rookie and to handle, systematically to be able to play multiple positions in Denver in that system, I think, it's a testament to how smart of a football player he is and how prepared he was. And so we feel like he'll be able to play a number of different positions, which is key for us because we want to move our other pieces. And, we'll see how it plays out once we get him on the grass and kind of get acclimated to how he best suits and fits. And I think part of the big part is how do we build his role as we go? Because, again, being in Philly, we got Jahan almost in the exact same situation last year. And, you got to start in a role, and then you kind of build it up. And, after a few weeks, then he's ready to roll.
This is 2 trades now. Do you think you guys will keep being active, or are you kind of
We'll see. Our personnel guys do an awesome job of just having a really good feel for where the league's at, the opportunities that present themselves. We have a lot of conversation with that. Again, we feel like we got a lot of good pieces here. We want to keep as many good ones, and if we can feel like we can add another good one, we'll continue to explore it.
And do you guys feel has Vele passes physical?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys feel good about the knee?
Yeah, we're good.
What is Fulog? I know he's a little banged up, but what is Fulog?
Yeah, he just had a little knee thing that came up. Yeah, he just missed today, so he practiced pretty much all practice yesterday.
Where do you guys kind of feel like, and especially going through like a camp and just being able to see the players on the field, like where do you feel like your team's at, like in terms of like the build and being ready to like push for a playoff spot and stuff?
Yeah, we feel like we're in a really good place. Obviously, it's been a really competitive camp in a number of positions. I think our guys are finding that common ground and starting to work together and understand the systems in all 3 phases. You can see that consistency start to show up where, okay, we're reacting at a really high level now. I think our team's really well connected from an off the field and from an interpersonal standpoint, and so we're ready to go compete. And we feel like we got some really good pieces. We're really excited about some of the younger guys that are going to get to hop in there and play early in this season, and so it's going to be a lot of fun.
In like the age and the contract, I mean, I guess he is 27, but like being on the rookie contract and team control for a few years at a lower, like, are you weighing like the right, like young guys that you feel like you're going to be part of like the long-term build versus like, I don't want to just throw a name, but like a Keenan Allen, like is there, what's like the math on where a guy's at in terms of like the build and adding them and all that stuff?
Well, certainly that's a unique aspect to get a guy in a trade that's in his second year of his contract. Most of the time you're either getting a guy in the last year of his contract or he's in a more of a year-by-year situation. And so, obviously that's a very valuable piece because we think really highly of him, and obviously he's still on that initial contract. So, it'll allow us some flexibility to navigate all this.
At what point, going back to his size, like at what point did you guys realize like that size was probably going to be a thing you still needed to add, or was it just always there? Or?
It's kind of been a discussion all the way from the beginning. Obviously you go through the draft and something, if something presented itself, it would have been awesome. It doesn't. We were fired up to get Cooksey and get a number of these guys onboarded. As we went through the entire offseason, we just kept, trying to build this thing as we went, and this certainly was a valuable opportunity that we didn't want to miss on.